Another young player getting drafted by the Arizona Cardinals falls victim to the way that the Cardinals do things. Today we're going to take a look into Trey McBride, his stats, and what his production has been so far in the 2022 season in his rookie year. Was Trey McBride worth that second round pick? What's going on, Arizona sports fan family? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Definitely do me one huge favor. Smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. Definitely follow me on all my social platforms. Everything's going to be in the description of this video. Now, today we're going to go ahead and dive right into Trey McBride and how you guys feel about the rookie tight end in his first year. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and make one thing absolutely clear. I know that there's going to be some people out there saying, oh my god, Mike's bashing on another young player. No, that's not what's going on here. I want to take a look into the numbers to really kind of find out what happened, where he's at, and how you guys actually truly feel about our young player in Trey McBride. Alright, everybody, let's go ahead and dive right into it here. Now, when we ended up drafting Trey McBride 55th overall in the second round, I was pretty confused. Now, I knew that we were going to be rolling into this season with Zach Ertz as well as Max Williams. Now, nobody went ahead and predicted that Max Williams was going to be hurt still, right? Get released, be put in the practice squad, and all that different stuff. No, I don't think anybody predicted that, right? So I was a little confused. Now, I remember specifically saying that getting Trey McBride was a little confusing because he was going to be kind of put in the Arizona Cardinals trap, right? Where he would only kind of be available if there was a big injury. And I meant towards Zach Ertz. Now, we all know how this season ended up coming out with, Zach Ertz getting hurt and him actually getting the opportunity to come in. Now, I do honestly believe that Trey McBride is dealing the same thing that a lot of young players are dealing with when getting drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals favor veterans so much that it's really sometimes hard for a young player to come in and get the opportunity, and they have to go ahead and wait their turn. They're very impressionable, so they're not going to go ahead and say anything, and obviously they're still getting paid, so he's going to go ahead and, let his time come. Now, unfortunately, Zach Ertz did have a season-ending injury, and we did end up seeing, Trey McBride, but we haven't really seen anything that we're really excited about, right? Now, I do specifically remember making a video last year about Zaven Collins, right? A lot of people were trying to call him out as well, calling him a bust. Now, I specifically said on that video that it's really hard to label him as a bust because we haven't really quite seen what Zaven Collins has done with Jordan Hicks getting most of the snaps. Now, obviously, this year, I think he's definitely, stepping in the right direction. Do I think he's a superstar? No, not at all. But let's see what, another year as far as being a starter under his belt can really kind of get him. And I feel like it's the same concept here from Trey McBride where, he was waiting for his opportunity. There was a really big injury and now he's kind of stepped into that role. But as of right now, we've seen Trey McBride getting a good dose of snaps, right? Pertaining to when Zach Ertz actually went down. Now, Zach Ertz's season-ending injury ended up happening on November 13th. So, mid-November is kind of when we're dealing with. So, obviously, you are seeing Trey McBride's snap count go up after that. So we start seeing Trey McBride more and more and more around week 10, right? So in week 10, he had 91 offensive snaps, week 11, 76, and then 79 at week 12. Now, I'm only assuming he's going to get more and more snaps by the time we start seeing, right, the last 5 games unfold. But right now, Trey McBride has really not done anything to impress. As of right now, his stats stand 9 receptions, 46 yards, 0 touchdowns, and averages 5.1 yards a catch. Now, this last game, he had several opportunities to catch the ball and make very crucial plays, but one thing he was really known for in college was the fact that he had really good hands, and he ended up dropping a lot of those balls that were very crucial for the Arizona Cardinals. So right now, it's not a good showing for Trey McBride. Now, coming into the draft, a lot of people were speaking very highly of Trey McBride, right? Like, he was a very good athlete. Now, looking at his college stats, at least as of right now, his number one year, or I guess his best year he ended up having on college was his last year, right? In 2021, he was a senior. He ended up having over 1,100 yards, averaging 12.5 yard a catch, and had 1 touchdown, right? I don't think it was anything more than just that, just 1 touchdown. So I'm kind of curious to figure out if Steve Keim and obviously the whole front office looked at that and said, oh my god, here we go, here's the next George Kittle, the next Kelsey, the next Zach Ertz, that type of thing, or they truly did believe that he was going to wait 2 to 3 years under Zach Ertz to fully develop to become that player that they thought he was going to become. Now, as of right now, Trey McBride, like I said a little earlier, has been very subpar, right? There's not really anything to kind of be very excited about. Now, granted, yes, we got 5 games left in the 2022 season, and yes, he's got opportunities to kind of, show himself out, but being that his stats are the way that it is right now, it's not really looking good for Trey McBride. I'm very curious to figure out how Trey McBride is going to fit for the future going into the 2023 season. We all know this 2022 season is a wash at this very moment, but how is Cliff Kingsbury, if he remains to be the coach, how is he going to implement both of these two players, Zach Ertz and Trey McBride, to be as effective as, in his mind they were going to be? Because as of right now, it seemed like Trey McBride had really no time with the first team reps. He was pretty much waiting for his turn. He was under Steven Anderson at one point. So now that he's finally gotten his opportunity to come out, is he going to be able to kind of come out and show up? Because, Trey McBride definitely does not look as polished as a lot of people thought coming out of the draft. Now, me personally, in the second round, I would have really loved the Arizona Cardinals to address a few different positions, right? Either you're talking about the edge position, an offensive lineman, or even a defensive lineman, preferably somebody in the interior, or maybe even somebody on the edge, just really depending on who falls on the draft board. That's where I would want the Arizona Cardinals to actually go for, but we ended up going for a tight end, which at that very moment, it was really hard for me to fathom to see, okay, well, when is he going to be productive, right? He's really only going to wait for a big time injury, and obviously that has happened with Zach Ertz. We're just kind of still waiting and twiddling our fingers to figure out who is Trey McBride. Now, there has been some players that were actually passed up by the Arizona Cardinals. Drake Jackson, in the San Francisco 49ers, he hasn't had a fantastic year, but as of right now, a pretty decent year. Another player, Nick Bonito, and then another player after that, Greg Dulcich, which is also another tight end, which at this very moment, 25 receptions, 319 yards, and 1 touchdown. And he plays for the Denver Broncos, so if that coaching staff can get their young tight end up and going, then that kind of says a lot for the Arizona Cardinals coaching staff and the development of what's going on within that coaching staff. So, another thing I want to mention as well is there was another player as well. I think it was picked up in the early 3rd round pick as well. He ended up getting drafted to Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's Luke Fortner. That's obviously a position that would really benefit the Arizona Cardinals moving forward into the future, because we don't know what's going to happen with, Rodney Hudson, and obviously Billy Price isn't the answer for the future. He's really just a band-aid more than anything. So I would really love the Arizona Cardinals to take a different approach, because their best player available, honestly, isn't really the best player available on a lot of other people's boards. So it's kind of one of those weird situations where I really do hope that Trey McBride gets better, because when he gets better, the Cardinals get better. That's basically the world I want to live in. So as of right now, was Trey McBride worth that 2nd round pick, or should the Arizona Cardinals gone a different route? I personally think that the Arizona Cardinals should have gone a different route. Now, can Trey McBride be the next best tight end out there? Yes, he possibly can, right? But as of right now, seeing him, progress to the games that he has, I think as of right now, looking at the snap count, he probably had a total of maybe 3 starts, so it's really kind of hard to completely, judge a young player coming into his career as an Arizona Cardinal. But he's got 5 games to change the narrative, because as of right now, a lot of the Cardinal fans don't think that this was the right pick for the Arizona Cardinals. But I'm curious to figure out how you guys feel about Trey McBride. Put everything in the comments below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.